So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing. So this is my initial post-fight reaction to the fight which took place last night between Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. Now, before I give my, initial reaction, as always guys, please subscribe, to help us grow this channel even further. So this, was a good comeback fight in my eyes for Anthony Joshua. He's lost 3 of his last 5 fights. Obviously that changes now with this victory, but Jermaine Franklin, he wasn't no pushover. He came to fight. He believed he could win, but there was just a difference in levels for me. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Jermaine Franklin, he has skills. He's got fast hands. Do you know what I mean? He's very durable as well. He can take a good shot, and he's shown that as well in a Dylan White fight. But it didn't really trouble Anthony Joshua too much. Yes, he made him bleed, and yes, he was catching him a couple of times, throughout the fight. But this is boxing. You know what I mean? There's 2 guys in the ring. Both guys are trading punches. You know what I mean? You're gonna get hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's boxing. If you come out of the ring, you know what I mean, with no scratches or no bruises or anything like that, you know what I mean, against a fairly durable boxer, you know what I mean, then you're unbelievable in my eyes. But you know what I mean, as I said, do you know what I mean? It was a good comeback fight for Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? He went in there. You know what I mean? You could see he was very, very, very apprehensive at times. Didn't really want to commit too much because he was maybe not scared is the right word to use, but just a bit cautious. That's it. You know what I mean? He's probably just a little bit cautious that he didn't really want to get clipped by Franklin because, you know what I mean, maybe in the first round or first 2 rounds within that, he probably felt a little bit of power from Franklin. But as they say, you know what I mean, a boxer is normally at his you know what I mean, most dangerous, you know what I mean, within the first couple of rounds because they're very you know what I mean, they're alert, they're sharp, they haven't took too much damage, etc., etc. But you know what I mean, throughout this fight, you know what I mean, you saw that as the rounds progressed, you know what I mean, when you're going into round 5, round 6, round 7, etc., etc., that Jermaine Franklin, you know what I mean, he offered very little. Do you know what I mean? And towards the end of the fight, he was even hugging and holding, you know what I mean, to try and, you know what I mean, disrupt AJ's flow. Do you know what I mean? To not allow AJ to punish him with the jab, you know what I mean, and then to counter every now and again with his right hand. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean, AJ's best shot throughout the fight was his jab. Do you know what I mean? He did land some good hooks every now and again and some good uppercuts every now and again. But for me, it was his jab which pretty much won him this fight. But as I said, he was very apprehensive to throw and to sit down on his shots, AJ. Because obviously Franklin was coming back at times and he's got speed for a big guy, Franklin. And that's what really surprised me, really, because I weren't expecting him to be as quick as what he was against AJ. You know what I mean? And his durability, he did take some good shots in there where most people probably would have, you know what I mean, after so many probably would have, like, just went down and not continued because AJ isn't the most, you know what I mean, he's got power, he's not a light puncher. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of them. It's a good fight. Initial reactions. Obviously, realistically, I want to go back and watch the fight and just to see, you know what I mean, if there's any improvements in AJ. But for me, you know what I mean, it was a good performance. I didn't really see too much differences between this and other fights. I thought his jab was very good. Do you know what I mean? It was quick. It was on point. But it was just apprehensive. He wasn't the same AJ as what we've seen in the past, where he would throw a quick jab, but then really follow through with his right hand. And it, you know what I mean, those big right hands is what normally hurts people and stops people in their tracks. But that just wasn't the case. And I feel as if it's going to take maybe a few more fights before we see the true confidence and composure and willingness to sit down on the shots a little bit more from AJ. Now, after the fight, obviously there was a little bit of back and forth between both corners. I feel as if, you know what I mean, straight immediately after the fight, AJ maybe went over towards Franklin to kind of say, oh, well done, you know what I mean, brilliant fight, etc. But things went off, and obviously they were pushing each other, and then obviously the corners got involved. A bit of this, you know what I mean, I didn't really like what, you know what I mean, Franklin's corner were doing, you know what I mean, that tried to put it onto AJ, but that was that at the end of the day. I mean, they were heated. It was at the end of the fight. Obviously, they're trying to protect their man, etc., etc. But it's one of them. But AJ's post-fight, you know what I mean, initial chat, you know what I mean, with the commentators, etc. He mentioned that he wants the Tyson Fury fight next. Now, in my eyes, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel that is the wrong move at this stage. You know what I mean? AJ's, as I said before this fight, I think he's lost 3 of his last 5 fights. He needs to rebuild. He needs to build that confidence. He needs to maybe implement a little bit more with what his trainer, what him and his trainer were going through in training, because you can see that yes, his jab was on point and it was fast and it was sharp, but it's just not the AJ which we seen in his in the earlier part of his career. You know what I mean? And that's what Klitschko took. Klitschko took that away from him. So yeah, like in an ideal world, do you know what I mean? I'd love if AJ, you know what I mean? Obviously, I want to see the Tyson Fury fight, but I'd love if AJ can maybe take on 1 or 2 more different opponents before he takes on Tyson Fury. The only reason why I say that is because when I'm watching AJ, and I'm literally sat there and I'm like, obviously I'm a big fan of AJ, so I'm there really apprehensive myself, but I just see that he's very, you know what I mean, he's very cautious and he just doesn't let shots go at times, and he's got it in his arsenal because he's you know what I mean, he can throw hooks, he can throw uppercuts from various different ranges, and he proved it in the Franklin fight, but something just holds him back, and I just don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? But the only way for that to come out is if he builds and he has some more, you know what I mean, competitive fights, but not taking on, you know what I mean, the best at this stage. Do you know what I mean? Block out all the noise, what the Fury camp and the Wilder camp, etc., are chatting, saying, "Oh, AJ's this, AJ that," but just take on, you know what I mean? Oh, literally, I'll go back in there with maybe a Dillian White. I feel that this is a good time for AJ to take on Dillian White because realistically, Dillian White didn't look too good against Franklin either. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel that even though both guys are at maybe similar stages of their career, you know what I mean, where they're at the minute, I still feel that AJ's got that little bit more to maybe just get the win over Dillian White, and then maybe try and challenge, you know what I mean, a few other people in the division. Honestly, I'd probably go for someone like maybe a Hellenius. Do you know what I mean? Someone along them borders. Do you know what I mean? Maybe even a Dubois. Do you know what I mean? Because Dubois is a big, heavy puncher, but he's very robotic at the same time. I don't feel as if he's got that bit more that he could maybe trouble AJ too much. Like, don't get me wrong, if he hits AJ, it's probably good night, but I feel that that's a fight that AJ, for me anyway, that AJ could potentially win. I just don't feel that at this stage in AJ's career, his first fight back, yes, he got the win. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel that the Fury fight is the right fight to go for, and I still don't feel that maybe the Wilder fight is the right fight to go for because, you know what I mean, you got a proper knockout artist in Wilder who would potentially, definitely, most likely catch AJ in that fight. And honestly, I feel as if AJ is going to go sleep. And then you've got you know what I mean, a boxing genius. I hate to say it, but yes, Tyson is a boxing genius, and he actually could think for himself in the fight. Whereas AJ doesn't really, I mean, use his brain cells that too much in the fight. He kind of relies on his corner, and he's very hesitant. Sorry, with throwing his shots. So, but that will change with the more fights he has. Honestly, I reckon if he could get another 2 fights, another couple of warm up fights with his trainer, do you know what I mean? And then maybe next year look to take on Tyson Fury if Tyson's still around, and then maybe look to take on a Wilder. Do you know what I mean? Then it'd be in better stead for my eyes. But honestly, I don't feel as if that's gonna happen. AJ's just out now for the big money fights. I feel as if this is the last few. This is probably the last couple of years, or maybe a year and a half now, of AJ's career. Do you know what I mean? But he's just in it now for the big money fights, and probably we're in the latter part of his career. We probably will see him fight. Maybe not. I don't feel as if the Tyson Fury fight would get made. I feel as if maybe he might fight someone like maybe a Joyce next if Joyce comes against beats Zhang, or he might fight a Wilder next, and then maybe a Tyson Fury at the end of the year, depending on what Tyson's doing as well. But anyway, that's my initial thoughts. I did long this video out a little bit too much, but as always, guys, let me know your thoughts. Do you know what I mean? These are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? You know what I mean? How did you see this fight? Do you feel that, you know what I mean, AJ is ready to take on a Tyson Fury, or do you probably agree with me and feel as if he needs to maybe take on a few more other challengers first, build up his confidence, and then take on a Tyson Fury? But anyway, guys, as always, please like, subscribe, and comment for more boxing related content. Bless.